Let's go live now to the New South Wales Premier.
Public, especially around Avalon and the Northern Beaches, for responding so positively to the testing that we've asked everybody to do given the outbreak of the cluster. Can I also thank our contact tracers and those doing the genomic testing in health who've literally been working 24/7 to get on top of this outbreak as much as possible. Yesterday we'd advised that as at 8 p.m. last night there'd been 15 locally acquired cases linked to the Avalon cluster. 2 from the previous day had brought that total to 17. There is also one additional case of a person who travelled to Queensland that also had obtained that from that same cluster, which brings that up to 18. And then overnight, since 8 p.m, we have had 10 additional cases. So those 10 additional cases mean that in the last 48 hours, there's been a total of 28 linked to that cluster. All but one is confirmed to be linked to that cluster, and Dr. Chant will provide a detailed breakdown of what those 28 cases are and what that means moving forward. Can I please stress to everybody in and around Avalon and the Northern Beaches that for the next 3 days you should not be leaving your home unless it's absolutely necessary. Please make sure that if you do leave your home for necessary business that you wear a mask, especially if you're going grocery shopping, especially if you're catching public transport. And of course, stay away from non-essential activities such as entering what regard as those high-risk venues, whether it's a hotel, a restaurant, a cafe. People should only be undertaking on the Northern Beaches absolutely necessary activity. And if we get on top of this in the next 2 or 3 days, all of us will be able to have a much better Christmas. But if we don't get on top of it in the next few days, it could mean further restrictions down the track. We don't want to go for that. We want to see what we can manage with the existing guidelines we've set for the community. And I do want to thank deeply the community of Avalon and more broadly the Northern Beaches who have responded very positively to what we've asked them to do. Minister Hazzard will outline all the clinics that are available for testing. We do note that some people said yesterday they had to wait a couple of hours before they were tested. We want to avoid that. So there's at least a dozen places you can go get tested, including over the weekend, which Minister Hazzard will outline. 6 or 7 of those were popped up or stood up yesterday to give that extra ability for people to get tested as soon as they need to. Can I also express a broader message of high alert for everybody around Sydney? We know, and Dr. Chant will communicate, that a couple of the cases, or they're directly linked to the Avalon RSL or the Avalon Bolo, a couple of people at those venues weren't from the Northern Beaches. They've gone back to their home, get back to their other suburbs, and Dr. Chant will elaborate on that. But it does mean there's potential seeding outside of Avalon and outside of the Northern Beaches, and this is what we need to prevent. So everybody in Greater Sydney needs to be on high alert. If you have the mildest of symptoms, please get tested and isolate. But also, can everybody please think about their activity? Nobody should be getting on public transport without wearing a mask. Nobody in Greater Sydney should be going to a supermarket, a place of worship or other high-risk areas without wearing a mask. It will just be crazy if people are undertaking those activities without wearing a mask, because the harder all of us work together, the better Christmas we will have, and that's certainly our objective. But even people in Greater Sydney should think about what they're doing. I know that there are a lot of Christmas parties on at this time, a lot of social gatherings. Please consider what is essential, and if you are going to continue those activities outside of the Northern Beaches, because certainly we don't want anybody on the Northern Beaches doing that, but if you are going to continue those activities, please be extra COVID safe.